Mediocre Gamer fam. It is I, Anthony Elliott. I'm sitting here with one of my best friends in the world, AJ. AJ, how are you doing today, AJ?
I'm doing good. Only negative really is it's another Monday, but it's
Yeah.
just another Monday. We'll get through it just like any other day. Well, in fact, we already are. I mean, the workday is over. So, how are you doing, Anthony?
I'm all right. I can't really complain. I cannot actually complain. I had a cool little weekend, a cool little getaway. I managed to finesse my way off of work. Yeah, nah, just overall cool. Nothing's really wrong. Everything's quiet on the gaming news front, which is like kind of like a whew after all the layoffs and everything.
Yeah, no
But
kidding.
it's a little annoying for us because we don't have much to talk about. I mean, I don't know. I'm always down to talk about Dragon's Dogma 2, but we got something coming for that. So, and I know you're probably sick of me saying it at this point. I know you're probably just like, shut the fuck up about this game. I get it.
Hey,
But
it comes out in 4 days from today. You know what? In 4 days, we'll hear about it again, and then we can move on. Like,
yeah, I mean, maybe. Who knows, AJ? Who knows?
let you get all this
But
like bent up estrogen you have for Dragon's
listen,
Dogma 2 out after it's
listen. I don't know. Listen, if it's a great game, I don't know if it'll ever be out. But AJ, we're not here to talk about Dragon's Dogma 2, unfucking fortunately. Um,
for you.
we're here to talk. We're here to talk about VR
VR and AR, kind of
and
their
AR
their place in gaming currently, and I guess a bit the past, and along with the future.
for sure. And here's something that we kind of it's really easy to forget. VR as a concept and really like a functioning technology has existed since the 80s. It has been around since 1980 something. It's about as old as Mario, maybe like a couple years younger. Um, and it hasn't really progressed as much as Mario has.
No, no. I mean, virtual reality has been a concept, an idea for us to go into since before even 3D games were a thing. And a lot of people see
Mhm.
VR. It's not, but a lot of people do see VR as that like next step from how we took from 2D to 3D, from 3D to VR, because like you can't
Mhm.
4D isn't possible for us. So where do you go from there?
As of currently, AJ, as of currently, we're working on it.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
calm down.
Where do you go from there? You make the game you make it just more. That's how you make it more immersive, right? So I think that was the natural progression that people saw, and even back then, and I feel like back in the day it was more saw as like a sci-fi thing, kind of like you'd see it in, like
Yeah.
Star Trek and stuff.
I mean, and then even when it came out, like the Leap system has been around. LEEP has been around like since the 80s, and like definitely the whole Star Trek influence has kind of pushed it forward. A lot of the
Hmm.
sci-fi kind of world, like Johnny Mnemonic, Lawnmower Man. There's a lot of just media things that pertain to VR, and it doesn't work that way. Ready Player One, prime example.
Yep.
But
Sword Art
but I
Online.
mean, Sword Art Online, another one. Hack dot sign. We can literally do this all day. The Matrix, literally do this all day. However, comma, now we're sitting in an interesting spot because fast forward, Jesus, the 80s was 50 years ago. Fast forward 50 years, and now we have Oculus. We've got PlayStation VR, and we also have just recently got the Apple Vision Pro, which it feeds into our AR estimates. And that's another thing about how it's not really designed for gaming. However, you can game on it, and I think it really
Hmm.
could be. I think if Pokemon Go was on Apple Vision Pro, my guy, that's instant money.
Oh,
It's instant money.
that'd be massive. It's just the problem is the market isn't big enough. The Apple Vision Pro market, just because it's such a high barrier to entry with the price, which that'll come down as next generations come. Of course, it'll always be
Mm-hmm.
their premium product, I'm sure, above like almost everything else. But
Mm-hmm.
it'll come down a lot, especially as they refine it. Is they're gonna want to make more sales as it goes, not less. There
Oh yeah, one hundred
is
percent.
there is one other company that does have their hand in the VR gauntlet that I do want to give light to. HTC with the Vive. Uh,
Oh, how could I forget the Vive? The Vive
that's
probably does it the best out of
it
everybody.
does for the most part. So really we have our three tiers of VR in a way, right? We have our Vive, which is what connects to our PC, right? That's what
Mm-hmm.
where your PC powers the game. We have our Quests, which is like our more of
Quest,
our
yeah,
portable, and Vision Pro. Don't get me wrong, more of our
yeah.
portable. But I say Vision Pro almost stands on its own for being more of an AR/utility device than a gaming, but it's portable. So with all that, we have to see. Oh, actually, I forgot the other tier.
I was gonna say, what was the last tier? I didn't want to
The
cut you off.
the PlayStation, so the console side of things with PlayStation and
Okay.
technically another one. This is a technicality though.
Oh gosh.
The Labo from Switch from Nintendo.
I
Because
mean,
they made the
yeah,
little
and I
cardboard.
mean, no, yeah,
It's not, but it technically is.
it kind of is. It kind of is. I mean, it works the same way an Oculus would work if you put it in a cardboard box. Like
Same way
it's
your
not
phone
that
works
far
with
off.
like the Google Glass, not the Google Glass, the Google Cardboard they do. You could slide your phone in and do like some
Yeah,
simple.
it's the exact same thing actually.
Yeah. It quite literally is, except it's like a Zelda.
It's the
game,
Switch instead of a phone.
Yeah, but yeah, it's as no one wants to sit here and play Breath of the Wild like this. No, like no.
Okay. So here's something really interesting because I will say this is one thing I will say is that first person games have all of this. Like this is the prime opportunity. If I'm Microsoft, you please believe that I see Sony doing the PlayStation VR, the PlayStation VR 2. They got all of these games for the PlayStation VR 2, and it's actually selling really well enough for them to make another one. Because I'll tell you what, we don't have another one. Goddamn PlayStation Vita. I'm still waiting on it.
So I actually that might have gotten debunked as of an article I read today about the PlayStation VR 2. They have announced that they are done manufacturing them for now at least. I'm assuming indefinitely because they're sitting on too many.
That makes sense. I believe it. I mean, I believe it because you got to think. Right, as a regular consumer, I consider myself a regular consumer, but VR, as of right now, is an early adopter thing. And for those of us who don't speak in tech land, let me elaborate because I'm fluent in Silicon Valley, despite my appearance. Basically, that just means that like it's a really cool thing, but it's also not good enough for public consumption at the mass level. So, for example, like when the Wii came out. My aunt had a Wii. I had a Wii. My grandma wanted a Wii. Like my cousins had Wiis. Everybody had a Nintendo Wii. That was it hitting mass appeal, right? An early adopter would be something like, I'm trying to think of a good motion. Oh, Connect. Connect was an early adopter thing that just didn't pan out because it wasn't ready to be a massively consumed thing.
Speaking of VR, since we're on the topic for not being ready for public consumption, I mean VR currently isn't. That was your whole point, but the Virtual Boy, Nintendo's original foray into VR, that is technically virtual reality. Not nearly in the same sense. Like if you move, it doesn't move in game or anything. It's just a standard controller, and you just strap the screen to your eyes. But that technically is Nintendo's first foray into virtual reality, and that gives a good example of how we weren't at all ready for that because it flopped horribly. It just weren't ready. But Nintendo wanted to release something to impress people, that VR, that virtual reality that no one's made yet. Like they wanted to be the pioneers, so that does make 100% sense in that aspect. But
and it's a cool idea. Like don't get me wrong, VR is super dope, and not to mention like now just between modding, like the modding community is insane. I saw this first person Elden Ring mod that was coupled with a sidestep mod instead of like a roll. And it was the coolest thing ever. It was just a Souls light in first person, and I was like, "Yo, if this in VR would smack."
That'd be super good. The hardest thing with VR and anything like that is motion sickness. With any sort of like a dash like that, a roll, anything like that, constantly will give you motion sickness. And the general reason behind that, for people that don't have VR, don't know the science behind it really, is that your eyes and your brain are seeing you move. Your brain is being tricked into that this is reality. It's all it can see. And so when you move but your body doesn't move, it can cause some like desync with your body and brain, and so it can give you the feeling motion sickness. A lot of games that are really bad with this are games where you hold the toggle stick forward and it just walks. That's where it's really bad. Games where, believe it or not, you teleport to move, like you hold a button down, aim, and teleport, are the best ways to move because you don't physically move your body. You are standing still no matter what. It's immersion breaking, but it saves you from
AJ, are
motion
you telling
sickness.
me that you don't teleport like 6 steps forward when you want to move?
I
Get
if
real, bro. Come on.
I have the opportunity, I was gifted that power actually back,
Oh, by
you
whom?
know, various spiritual beings.
Oh wow. Okay.
It was a late night after having some sort of I don't know. My friend gave me this pill, and I since
Okay.
then I've been able to teleport. I some
That's amazing.
beings came down, and I've just kind of figured it out. So it feels very natural when I'm in VR, but for the rest of you, it might feel a
Right.
little jarring as a heads up. But
Okay. That's
either
good.
way, and I think a big issue. This is interesting that you brought the Wii up. The Wii became so
Ooh.
popular because of Wii Sports, which is essentially a tech demo, and a lot of VR games are pretty much tech demos.
Very, very expensive tech demos, might I add. I mean, and not to say that there are no VR games to actually do this right.
Mm-hmm.
The best one to do it so far is Half-Life Alex. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. I will read them, I swear. Um, but yeah, no, Half-Life Alex does it the best. And granted, it does have some immersion breaking elements, but for the
Mm-hmm.
most part, it feels really real.
Yeah, I would argue a really close contender is Stormland from Insomniac
Yeah.
Games, which unfortunately for those of you who don't know and who haven't seen it or experienced it, it is discontinued because it was an Oculus Store exclusive which no longer exists because Facebook bought out Oculus. So that's
I
pretty
mean, Meta
cool.
could Meta could bring it back.
Oh, they could. They said they're
Meta can
working
do
on it, but
something.
they've said they've been working on it for like the past 2 years. So I don't understand how hard it is to bring
Things
that
take
over
time, AJ. Just be
and
patient,
get
and then
that.
maybe we'll get the Oculus store on Meta. It'll be the Meta store and act like nothing happened, and then we'll get a PS Vita 2 because the PS Vita was ahead of its time, just like VR.
I hope so. I think my hopes are a little squashed by the PlayStation Portable, but we'll see about the Vita 2. I would love it. I love my PSP. I never had a Vita, but I still want one to this day. Um,
But yeah, no. The Vita, quick tangent. The Vita literally was DOA because it came out, I think, either at the height or right after the height of the PSP.
mm-hmm.
And literally everybody was like, why would I want to play this? Not knowing, not realizing that the PS Vita is literally just a PlayStation with the screen glued onto it and the controllers right here. It's literally the same hardware, the same specs damn near. It's insane.
And see, I think that the big issue with the PSP and Vita both, mainly Vita, is the game output, right?
Oh yeah.
Because it's a bunch of it is like you have your Sly Coopers like a Ratchet and Clank. There's spin-offs made by different studios. It's not even the same studio. They usually have some sort of trash story. It's usually a side character like you had your Agent Clank, and
Hey, oh yeah, I forgot about Agent Clank.
all those different kind of games, and so they really felt like sub-tier games. And then on top of that, they then released all those games on consoles. So now if we look at the
Mm-hmm.
competition here, we go to the Nintendo DS and 3DS
Mm-hmm.
blows them out of the water with the
Every
first
time.
party games that were made solely for that. They took advantage of being on those handhelds. I mean, there was so much done to those games to make them stand out on those handhelds alongside the console games that PlayStation
Yeah.
just didn't do.
I mean, and then you can make the same argument for Oculus or Meta
Mm-hmm.
with the Oculus. Make the same. I would say the same thing for PSVR. I mean, the only real outstanding game that I remember everybody was like, "Yeah, this is dope." Iron Man VR. I remember everybody was like, "Yeah, no, this makes sense. I like that." But I mean,
I heard the Horizon
what?
VR was pretty good. I didn't play it, but
Oh yeah, the Horizon VR. I forgot about the Horizon VR. But I mean, there aren't a lot of options. And also, again, this is an early adopter thing, so you're gonna have early adopter sales numbers. Like unless here's the thing. Here's how you get more sales to any VR console. This is take this idea, run with it, company A, B, and C. Get a really big property, right? Get like Bluey, get like Teen Titans, just get a really big property and then have an RPG light, not like, not even an RPG experience, really. Get an RPG light experience as a character. So, for example, imagine, I don't know, let's say a Teen Titans game where you can play as the different Titans and use their powers in VR, but you also get light, um, Teen Titans Tower customization. You can move the couch to a different place. You can change the colors. You can
Yeah.
walk around in your house and like go through the mission levels and like fly around as Starfire or Raven or like be a bull as Beast Boy and run around and do stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or fight hand to hand with as like Cyborg or Robin. You get a really big property, you smack it on there, you make it full of features. Just do stuff you didn't think people wanted you to do. Like just like, oh man, like make it an option so like I could walk or I could teleport. This will probably listen, Vive. Hey, listen, if you guys are listening, my people that make the Vive, check this out. This is money. This is money right there for you. A console exclusive Teen Titans experience in VR. Who wouldn't want that?
Yeah, yeah. Something else I think would do phenomenally in a VR setting, and I know there's games that kind of do this, but like a really good battle royale, you could
Ooh,
have
yeah.
the. I think one of the hardest things for a lot of VR games is the Vive is a really hard barrier to entry. So having anything be too
Mm-hmm.
technical is really hard because you have to buy a gaming
Mm-hmm.
PC and then the headset and all that, and then have the space, all the stuff. Like you have to be so ready for that, and then you can't take it anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm.
The Quest, you can take it anywhere, but you're limited by the power. And the PlayStation VR, I mean, you have the PlayStation to back it up for power, so it's not as big of an issue. And I think that's half the reason why the Iron Man game was. I mean, I'm sure there's actual licensing things behind that too, but I'm sure that's half the reason why it is exclusive to the PlayStation because the Quest, I wouldn't be surprised if it couldn't handle it.
I'm pretty sure the Quest can handle Iron Man VR.
I haven't played it. I don't have a PlayStation VR, so I don't know. I could be wrong,
Uh,
but I know
well, just be
some games are taxing.
yeah, 100%. But I mean, most VR experiences consider that. I mean, the Visoria's support is already
Yeah.
a bitch. Like, it's already a problem to try to deal with it. So the fact
Mm-hmm.
that it could run it, a lot of VR experiences, minus a handful. This isn't all of them. Before you yell at me, not you, AJ. I was talking to the commenters. Um, a lot of them are low poly, low
Yeah.
res. Minus like Half Life Alex or that Batman Arkham VR game. Like a lot of them are very, very simple looking and simple to experience, which is good. It's not a bad thing. It's not bad. It's just that's why.
Mm-hmm. We're looking like, and usually we're talking like PS3 to Xbox 360 generation and below for graphical quality.
Right.
Usually, again, Half-Life Alyx, Stormland. There are games out there, the Star Wars games. There are games out there that look better. None of them quite are up to the quality of like peak PS4 and Xbox One games.
Yeah,
But
nothing looks like Red Dead Redemption 2
no,
that we've seen. I'm sure it's
yeah,
coming.
yeah, and I think it will come eventually. Another thing that makes it really hard also for PlayStation to get ahead in this modding support. Think about
Yeah.
VR's biggest seller. What is it?
What is it actually? I don't know.
Beat Saber. Everyone
Yeah.
Everyone wants to play Beat
Yeah.
Saber. And if you're on console and you want custom songs, you don't want to play the same generic EDM Beat Saber songs, get fucked, buddy. Go get a Quest.
Yeah, dog.
So right there, that immediately eliminated any chance for me getting a PlayStation VR anytime soon. There's other consoles I want to catch up on that I'd rather get personally. A lot of other games people I know would personally rather get. If I'm going to spend the same amount of money on a Quest than a PlayStation VR, I'm just going to get a Quest. There's so much more I could do with it. You can have Steam Store
Yeah.
and Meta Store, which have more
Mhm.
games on it than PlayStation's and has modding support. Why the
Yeah.
fuck would I get a PlayStation VR then?
I mean, I don't think you know how deep the love Sony ponies have for Sony as a
I get
brand
it.
goes. But from a consumer standpoint, if I'm like, okay, my little Timmy wants some type of VR for Christmas, and I'm between this and that, and I'm reading the specs, I'm looking at this, I'm looking at that, I'm like, okay, we're going with the Oculus more than likely, right? Unless again, your child is a Sony pony, in which case that's weird. Um,
Yeah. Well, so back to the big tech demo thing, because there's plenty of games on there that are legit games, like Super Hot. That's a legit game on PlayStation 3.
goodness, yeah.
And it is one of the best games. I think it's better in VR than on console.
It's way better in VR than on console. I will say you kind of because you can't actually okay. And to explain Super Hot for those of us who maybe don't remember Super Hot, Super Hot is a game. Imagine Hotline Miami in first person. You go through, you shoot a bunch of people. The catch is time only moves when you move. So you have a chance to stab a guy and then stop and look at your surroundings and go, oh, he's coming that way, that's coming this way. Cool. And then like in VR, it's even cooler because now, even though you can't sit still, everything's super duper slow because you're barely moving. So you can see a bullet coming, you can duck under the bullet and go under here this way and twist around and certain. It's really cool. And why haven't we gotten another Super Hot? Wait a goddamn minute.
Oh, I want a Super Hot that's only VR. Forget the consoles.
Yeah.
I want like so they can do some like really cool stuff that's VR focused. That game is by far my favorite VR game. So I'm a little biased, but I absolutely love it. You know, another tech demo we won Blades and Sorcery. A huge modding community behind it. It's all for those you don't know. It's pretty much only I haven't played it in a bit now, but it's pretty much only arena fights where you kind of set up the fight and just go through waves of just enemies with swords, shields, all that. And so there's a big modding community behind it, adding weapons from all these different games and media, guns, grappling hooks. I mean, literally everything.
A lot of stuff.
Lightsabers, all this powers, magic, all this stuff to make it a really fun game. But again, it's a game that I wouldn't want to touch if I was on. I don't even know if it's on PlayStation or not, but I wouldn't want to touch it.
I don't think so. But yeah,
there because the modding community is so great. And you also have Skyrim and Fallout 4 VR. Those are
Fallout. I mean,
they're not
Skyrim VR is really great. Skyrim VR is actually pretty great because now you get voice spells. Yes, I have a coworker. He every now and again, whenever he gets annoyed, he just says "Niche for da," and it's really funny because that's a spell to summon lightning from the sky.
Yeah, that's great.
But yes, it's really funny.
There's that, and then again the Fallout. And what's fun about those is you can also mod those VR versions also. So especially like what I like, something you could do with Fallout is you could kind of turn it into like more of like a zombie survival or like a bunch of different other stuff with mods. At least there, you can redo a lot of stuff. I mean, you can of course with Skyrim too, but it's a medieval game through and through, no matter what. And so there's a lot of fun to be had there. They have the Star Wars games that are on Meta that are great. The 3 episodes of Star Wars.
They're really great.
I'll never forget the moment where Vader walks out and he's just towering over me looking down, and I wanted to piss myself. I mean, I obviously knew it was in VR, but I was like, holy shit.
It's still scary. Darth Vader is zero to fuck with.
No, that is like the one man that you just don't fuck with.
You just don't piss them off. I mean, yeah, even then, I don't know, man. Darth Vader, we can go on. I can go on a whole tangent about the Star Wars lore and how Anakin actually was the one.
Could this is gonna upset all 0 people that care in our
here we go
comment section.
Here we go.
Could Darth Vader kill Goku? And this is off topic of gaming now. If he got because obviously neither of them know each other's abilities meeting up. So if he got the chokehold on him on rip.
I mean, here's the problem, because if we want to look at Star Wars The Force Unleashed as canon, which I don't know if we can, once we consider what's possible just in the Force, Goku doesn't stand a chance. This is the best way to test this theory, right? It's the same thing of Omni-Man versus Homelander. Who would win? And it's Homelander has laser vision. Homelander is probably just as strong as Omni-Man. Homelander might be a little bit faster than Omni-Man. Homelander has never had... He might be. I have no way to test it. Omni-Man is super quick. Homelander has never hit his top speed ever. So we don't know, but I'll even give him that advantage. I'll give him that one up. Homelander has never had to deal with some shit from space.
Or really had to fight at all in his life.
Or really had to fight.
Everything.
Prime example.
Yeah, he's pretty much one punch man. He wins.
Goku is incredible. Goku is amazing. Goku has to put his hands on you. Vader does not. What are we talking about?
See,
that's the VR fight I want.
I love it. See, but then if you look at it but if Goku gets to Vader before he gets his hand up, which you look at the insane speed feats they have. They could follow that speed. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if Vader could. So if he got to Vader
Oh yeah,
before
you
he
can
got his
just instant
hand up,
transmission for sure.
boom, one punch through his chest, he's dead. Vader ain't
But here's the
that
thing.
durable. So
Vader doesn't need, I mean, you don't need to raise your hand to use the Force. That's a thing. Vader does that as like just a mental thing, but
yeah,
he doesn't need to
you're
do
right.
that.
You're right. You're right. All right. All right. I think we pissed
Yeah,
off
Vader wins.
enough.
Vader
We
wins.
pissed
Yeah.
off enough people with that today. I'm cool with that.
I mean,
I
yeah.
like Star Wars more anyway, so I'm cool with that. But
Rest in peace to Akira Toriyama. I was very
yes,
sad for like a
yes,
very long time about that. Miss Akira every day. I think about that way more often. That might be my Roman Empire. I think about Akira Toriyama a lot.
and I'm wondering where they're gonna go with the show and manga, like from here. They're about to start a new series, so I
Are
don't.
they
Uh-huh.
wrapped up super?
I no, they're going back to like I don't think they did. I don't follow Dragon Ball regularly, but they're starting a new one where everyone gets reverted to like their kid form.
Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. So they're pulling like a Dragon Ball GT, basically.
Kind of, but like people we didn't see as kids before, I think are getting turned into kids. And like so it's
That's
not
fine.
like
I'll take it.
reverting time. We're just like
Yeah,
making everyone young.
reverting
And
age,
just like
or like
yeah.
even just
They have, like,
just an alternate timeline.
Essentially, yeah, just have like classic like feel episodes with all the characters you've grown to love, kind of thing. I think it's a neat idea, just to have like a
It's a very
supplementary kind of thing.
For sure. This is a very, very small tangent that again doesn't have anything to do with VR. This is a gaming podcast. But I don't know if you've watched Boruto. Boruto has done the thing where now we see Goku in not Goku, Jesus Christ. Now we see Naruto in his 40s. And
Yeah,
that's interesting. But Boruto as a character is not. And I appreciate that they're keeping the characters that we like and are interested in. And also Boruto just complains a lot. Boruto is the Caillou of anime. He just complains about shit and then things just work out and then he's like, "Oh, I guess everything's fine." Versus
it,
Naruto literally had to fight for his right to be a human even though he was the only reason the Leaf Village was still around. The only reason.
yeah. I mean, okay, I wouldn't
Yeah.
say only, but
If Naruto's parents didn't bound, if Naruto's stuff didn't sorry, I'm getting excited, getting hot. Naruto's family didn't bind Kyuubi to this baby, Kyuubi would have took out half of them easy because
I
Naruto's
agree.
parents went into it. Naruto's parents went into it knowing like, all right, we can't win. Like we can make it look real good. We can't win. So it's like, all right, great. We're just gonna trap him in this baby, and we understand that this baby's probably gonna have a hard life. But it's either this baby has a hard life or half of the village dies.
See, here's the thing. So like that was more on the parents to do that than Naruto.
Sure,
Naruto
for
obviously
sure.
did his thing. I'm not gonna spoil too much, just because if anyone's watching hasn't seen it, I don't want to ruin stuff. But as we know, it wasn't all him by
Mhm.
the end helping. We had
No, of course not.
help from some select few other people, close friends,
And then we get to Shippuden, and we get even more help.
That's yeah. So like and that's a big theme across all. The bonds I've forged with my friends. He does his talk no jutsu to get every villain out of stop being a villain.
Hmm. I mean,
But
except for a handful.
yeah, oh, of course.
Except
You
for
gotta
a
have a
couple.
few. You gotta have a few. But still, like and then you get to Bordo, and Bordo is quite literally the definition of a celebrity's child.
Yeah.
He just goes around,
Yeah.
fuck shit up, claims he's gonna do things on his own, gonna, forge his own path, and then just fucks around and rides on his
Hmm.
parents' coattails for the most part. And you're like, well, trying not to.
Don't even get me started on the fact just comparing Boruto to Naruto. It's like, yeah, Naruto was a little slow, but he tried really hard at
Hmm.
every step of the way.
He
Versus
cared.
Boruto is he cared a lot, and everybody treated him like actual dog water because he had a tattoo on his stomach that saved the village. And Boruto's just like, my dad's always busy. What? What?
He's running,
What are we talking
essentially
about?
running a country. Like,
And it's not like he doesn't like Boruto. Naruto is actually a really good dad, all things considered.
He just can't be home. I've
He's
always
busy running the village.
I've always no, that show is such a disappointment. Anyways, this is a gaming podcast, so back to VR and AR. So
I mean, do you have anything you want to add to the VR AR conversation?
I do actually.
Oh, what you got? What we got? What we got?
On AR. Yes, we talked about Pokemon Go being in Apple Vision Pro in the future. And I again, now we're hop back out of gaming a bit, and I'm going to circle back in the tech field. It seems that companies that are pushing VR and metaverse and all of this are doing a race. Like look at Facebook, for example. You know, they have the Quest, and then they have their Stories glasses that I have. And you know, they're making these more tech filled, while making the Quest more streamlined and simplified. And
right.
so
I mean, but you kind of have to.
You do. I'm not complaining. This isn't a complaint. It just seems like they're both at a race to reach the middle, where we have see-through, but we can be also fully immersed at the same time. Essentially, wearable everyday, more than likely glasses, but we could use for everything.
I'm not gonna hold you. If Google stayed on the Google Glass, my guy,
yep,
because the Google Glass probably did it the best.
Yep, huge blunder.
Like, yeah, like the Google Glass did it the best. They looked like glasses. They worked really, really well, and not only that, they weren't that expensive.
No, they just looked weird. Like no one would want to wear them. And like I love these smart glasses. It has convinced me not to get LASIK, just because I don't see a need anymore, because I will wear these regardless, so might as well have prescriptions.
Wow. Okay. That's impressive.
Completely, the convenience is unmatched of being able to take calls. If I'm in a waiting room, I can listen to stuff and without anyone else hearing. When I'm walking to the grocery store, I'm able to listen to music. I know you can have ear pods in, but then you look like an asshole. You know, there's tons of, and of course, at any point, if I'm on vacation, I can just quick snap, take a picture. I don't have to see everything through my phone, which I love. I'm so against seeing stuff through phones. It blows my mind. But anyways, back to my point is, you know, I think it's going to translate into the gaming sphere of this VR/AR. I think we can make some, like to your point, Pokemon Go, some really cool immersive VR and AR games where you think about, like, I've always had this concept. I want to do it so bad. Think about like having like a Nazi zombies, but your house is the map.
That could be fun.
Like,
that could be really fun. And you get like
you have to shoot out your windows and board them up and stuff. Like, oh, that'd be a blast.
That could be really fun. Or even if it was like a controlled environment, like you just have like Nazi zombie house, and like you have to go kind of like almost like a rage room, like it's just a white room, but then you put on like the AR, like whatever, and it's just like kind of like Free Guy. When you put the glasses on, it's like, oh my god, everything is something.
Yeah, no, I like you said, Pokemon be fantastic. I know the Harry Potter series has an AR game like Pokemon Go. I think that'd be phenomenal for AR. Walk around, you have a wand, you could, dude. That could be super fun.
Could you imagine a Pokemon game where like it's in your AR glasses, you're walking around, you're just in the city, you're just running errands or whatever, you got a little bit of time, and then like an alert comes up, just like ding 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 ding, trainer in the area in the Pokédex voice, and you look and it's another motherfucker with the same glasses that has another Pokemon. It was like, would you like to battle? And it's like, hell yeah, dude. And it's like you like throw out your Pokemon, you engage in the AR thing, and like people walking by are just like, why are they standing like 6 feet away from each other smiling? But it's just like, dog, like, oh my god, this is so cool. That would be insane,
dude. That'd be awesome. So I think even okay, so let's taking AR out of the house away. The implications for AR just in gaming in general, right? Like you can make a game and have additional AR features. So like if you have the AR glasses, all of a sudden you see all this other stuff. Or it's like you could even make some fun games where it's like, all right, like turn on your glasses to like see this shit. Now you can make a detective game. You'd like turn on your glasses in real life and then like see stuff on the screen. Like
so cool.
It could be so cool. The potential for both is there. I think another big barrier for VR that a lot of people have is when I'm playing video games, I just want to sit back on my couch or with a controller
Mm-hmm.
and chill. With VR,
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, you're standing and moving. No, you don't know.
Shit, I'd say 9.9.
Yeah, but like most of them, like like Minecraft VR, it's quite literally you sit and your head's just the camera. So like I could sit here in my chair and just pivot as like to turn my camera and just run straight, right? But
That's pretty fun.
and it's cool, right? My voice probably got really quiet there because I was away from my mic. Sorry, but
It's okay. Hey, quit apologizing, AJ.
the potential for so many games to be in VR is astounding. Like Sekiro, I think would be another good one. I think it'd be hard with the movement, but the combat you can literally like having to like actually parry. Now you'd have to make it a bit easier. You'd have to dumb it down. It'd have to be a Sekiro for VR.
I was gonna say
For VR.
Okay, because I was gonna say you're the resident hater of Souls likes. Like the resident, we keep you around in the offices here because you hate Souls likes.
I'm not a big fan, yes, but I think that it could still be really. I think I'd like it a lot more in VR, because then like if I'm standing and moving and using my body, I'm less inclined to sit back and chill and kind of go brain dead. Then I'm like, I'm using
I will
my
say
body,
a Souls
I'm
like,
immersed.
yeah, Souls like would lend itself to VR, not Sekiro. Sekiro is one of the hardest games. Period. Like period.
What you could do is have like
but
a parry / dodge. And instead of it being a button to roll, the dodge could be like a lean kind of thing. Lean left, right,
okay,
duck. Like that way at
that could be
least it's
fun.
like it's doable without giving you fucking like you're rolling to the side, like it's not giving you fucking motion sickness, but
Yeah, that
could
could
be super
listen.
cool.
That could work. Oh, yo, AJ, remember that game? Excuse me, I was gonna pitch, but it didn't fit the show, so I had to write it out.
Mhm.
Okay, Shrek the Souls like in VR. Okay, break it down. Let me. Okay, you play as
Yep.
Shrek, and you gotta fight dragons, you gotta do all the shit, but it's a Souls like, and you're playing the Shrek. That just sounds cool. I would buy it.
That could be really fun, actually. Going through the castle, the dragons breathing down you. Yet you're at Farquaad's
Yeah.
castle, all that stuff.
It could be
That
like
could
the
be a
whole
lot of
thing
fun.
where like the timeline reset because magic, you could do whatever with magic.
Who cares?
And
Yeah.
yeah, the timeline reset and Shrek is like, what is going on in the castle? And it's just like, what? It's just like
Just
already slayed the dragon.
remix stuff. Have the gingerbread man. He swapped places with Farquaad, and he's like the head.
He runs. It's Gingerbread City, baby.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
that's
You can do
funny.
some cool stuff with that. And speaking of which,
Have Puss in Boots. Oh yes.
Puss in Boots could also be there's your Souls like
I was
for
just.
that. Like you could have some like,
Oh my
or there's
gosh,
a
the Puss in
Sekiro
Boots
section.
Souls like would be
The,
crazy.
the Puss in Boots part is like Sekiro, where like Shrek is more like Souls, because like Puss you have to like do the quick parrying.
Ooh, you gotta
and
actually
counter,
parry.
Whereas Shrek is more
Ooh.
that slow moving, like heavy attack.
Yeah, okay. Ooh, but you could change your loadout. That could be fun if you change
Mm-hmm.
like how you play. And then also, time out, quick Shrek lore. Puss in Boots was sent to kill Shrek. This is why. This is why they meet in the first place, is because Puss in Boots was gonna kill Shrek in any timeline, which is proven in I think it's Shrek 4 when they go to another timeline and all the ogres are still alive, and so Puss in Boots is just a fat cat. It's like, yeah, he's working, killing all the ogres. Um,
That's crazy.
Alright.
I never watched the fourth movie,
Yeah,
so I never realized that was kind of
the
like.
Shrek lore is actually insane, and it lends itself to be a great Souls-like in VR because all the Souls-like games lore is actually crazy.
Well, they are. Yes, you're right. So with
Actually, just wild.
a VR Shrek Souls like, I don't think we could dive much deeper into the VR and AR rabbit hole. So without further ado, guys, I appreciate every single one of you guys tuning in. As always, thanks for listening in and watching this week. Anthony, do you have anything else to say?
We love you. Also, one more thing about the Shrek Souls like, then I'll leave. What if you could unlock weapons to use in PvP and AR?
Ooh,
So
that could
like
be
instead of
sick.
paying to play, you could like earn like whatever currency and then just buy X weapon, like X, like Lord Farquaad's sword or whatever, and you could go out in the world and it's just like, a trainer wants to fight you, and then you just turn around and you like ding 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 ding, like you AR fight. That could be cool. That is all I have to say. We love you and we're thankful for you, and we will see you in the next episode. AJ, do the thing.
As always, guys, stay mediocre.